I was 8 years old, I went on safari in South Africa. My game driver, Michelle Campbell, showed me the most incredible animals, all roaming free in their natural habitats. Michelle also taught me about the dangers these animals face from humans every single day. I could not believe that humans were killing animals for sport and for their body parts. I decided to take action. Over the next 7 years, I wrote a book, partnered with Project 15 from Microsoft, created a song and a music video, and became the first youth ambassador for Born for USA to help inspire my generation to advocate for endangered animals. And now, you're watching my documentary. I want to introduce you to some of the heroes who work on the ground to save wildlife in wild spaces. I also want to introduce you to some incredible animals I was able to get very close to. I had the privilege to participate in conservation efforts that help protect some of those endangered animals on the planet. First, some vital conservation work being done to save our rhinos. Poaching is the main threat to rhinos. People think that a rhino's horn has some sort of magical healing power, but this is not true. A rhino's horn is made from keratin, the same material in our fingernails. There are 5 species of rhino around the world. The white rhino lives in southern Africa and is the one you would most likely see. Currently, there are about 17,000 left in the wild. The greater one-horned rhino is found in India and Nepal. There is estimated to only be 4,000 left. The smallest and rarest rhino species is the Sumatran rhino, found on small islands in parts of Indonesia and Malaysia. There are less than 50 of them on our planet. The Javan rhino, found exclusively on the island of Java in Indonesia, is also critically endangered, with less than 80 individuals left. The black rhino is also found in southern Africa, and although it is smaller than the white rhino, it is known to be way more aggressive. With their numbers below 6,500, they are also critically endangered. I joined up with Wildlife Act, an organization that specializes in conservation efforts aimed at saving endangered species. Today, we will be dehorning a rhino, a method used to help stop poaching.
Today I welcome Pippa and Danny from Wildlife Act. It's crazy that people want to kill these rhinos, but their horns are just made out of keratin, which is the same material as their fingernails. I know that some people think that dehorning rhino is so cruel, but can you tell us, why we have to do this?
Unfortunately, right now we are just seeing an increase in rhino poaching, and this has been one of the most effective ways we can kind of deter it and almost advertise that these rhinos don't have horns to almost deter poachers from these areas.
On some properties we've seen a 90 or 85% decrease in incursions after dehorning a population. And like you said about the keratin and the fingernails, our fingernails continue to grow after we've cut them. It's the same thing with the rhino horn, it continues to grow, which is why we need to dehorn the same animal every 15 months, 12 to 15 months.
So my last question is, can you tell us how kids my age can become an advocate for this animal?
So the best thing that we can do is spread the message and do research and
Education.
educate your friends,
yeah.
educate your friends' parents, start campaigns, get involved in other people's campaigns. We have species going extinct every day, and often we don't even know about them. So the more we tell people about rhinos, the better. So the best thing to do is to spread the word.
The use of technology to monitor rhinos, such as drones and GPS tracking devices, are being rolled out to ensure these precious animals can be monitored around the clock. The rhinos have been darted, and the vet and his conservation team get to work immediately, as the drugs used in the procedure must be reversed as soon as possible. While the rhinos are sleeping, their horns are measured for record-keeping purposes. Hair and blood samples are or also taken for genetic records, and their ears are notched so that they can be visually identified in the future.
Yeah, because it stings a little bit, that stuff. It's got an alcohol in it. All right, to mix it. Do that one. And give it to me, and then pull that needle out, and I'll put my finger here. That's it. Perfect. Okay, so that's its blood sample taken. Okay, so we identify rhino with two means. One of it is the notching on the ears, which is the ones the monitors use all around. Okay, but sometimes if this rhino, if it should die, for instance, and it's left out in the field and we find that the hyenas have eaten its ears off, we can't tell who it is. So we put a microchip in its neck here, which is a permanent identification, and that gives us a definitive identification. Okay, we also use that chip for when we move them.
Does it hurt the rhino?
No. Did you see it move at all?
No.
No, didn't. Okay, and when it gets up, you'll see it gets up, it'll walk away like nothing ever happened to it, okay?
Okay.
So no, it doesn't hurt. It looks horrible, but it doesn't hurt them at all. And you see how quick it is.
Yes.
Quick, that
just
horn
like
was
cutting
often...
your fingernails.
Exactly, but you wouldn't do it with a chainsaw, hey?
Yes. So we just dehorned this female white rhino, and the shavings of her horn are here on the ground, and it's really sad that, you know, this is what people want, and it's just worthless.
The team at Wildlife Act works on many species. The next animal I'll have the privilege of getting to know up close and personal is the cheetah. This happens to be my favorite of the big cats. A bit of background of the big cat family. Lions, found mostly in Africa, are the only social big cats and live in family groups called prides. They're estimated to be around only 24,000 left in the wild. Sadly, they have disappeared from over 90% of their historical habitats. Leopards are found throughout most of Africa and are known to be extremely elusive. Tigers are the largest of the big cats. With only 5,600 individuals left in the wild, they are considered endangered. Other big cats include the jaguar, native to the South American rainforest, and the cougar, found in both North and South America. The cheetah is known for its incredible speed. They can run as fast as 75 miles per hour. Unfortunately, these spotted cats are threatened by loss of habitat from prey and fall victims to human-wildlife conflict. They are classified as vulnerable and only 12,000 remain in Africa. Cheetah populations have relatively low genetic variability, meaning that cheetahs have a very small gene pool, which makes them more susceptible to infectious diseases and infertility.
So this afternoon what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for CF9. She's a female cheetah. She's the newest genetics in Manyoni. The reason we are recoloring her is the fact that because she is some of the new genetics, we are trying to monitor her success rate. So how successful she is being in a new habitat, as well as how successful she becomes as a new mom. She is still quite a young cheetah. This also is twofold. The collars obviously also help us if there are any injuries or snaring. We can then react quite quickly and ensure that she's safe.
My team has located the cheetah and her cubs. A veterinarian, Dr. Mike Toft, must dart the cheetah. The cubs will not be darted and will easily find their mom when we wake her up.
So basically what they are going to do is we are, as you can see, this color is a little bit old. It's about 2.5 years old, so it is quite a old color. So we're going to be replacing it with a new color. We are just using what we call a VHF. So there's quite a few colors that we use. We use GPS, satellite colors, but today we're just going to be using a standard VHF, and that will then transmit to the receiver. The closer we get, the louder we'll get. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just feel how tight we need it. So Mike's going to help us on this one, 3 to 4 fingers. So you're kind of going to do that, and then you're going to put it on that button. So you want to try that? So Pippa, how do you feel about collaring animals?
So we obviously don't want to put collars onto these creatures, and we don't want to remove the horns from rhino. But we've worked out that that's essential for their conservation. We need to be able to track these endangered species, understand them as a species, understand their movements, what they feed on, who they're mating with, because we don't want to influence their natural behavior in any kind of way. But we found that this is the most effective way of keeping them safe.
How did the cubs react to this? What did they do?
They've been very relaxed, as you saw. They just sat. They're sitting right over there. You can hear them contact calling. So what we'll do, they're very relaxed. They aren't going to go too far from their mum. They're obviously they aren't feeling too threatened, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we want. Which is why we're being quiet and not making, moving around too much. When she's ready, we'll reverse her, move off, and if they don't come straight in, then we'll just play a little chirping sound, just draw them back to her, and then they'll sit and wait till she's up. But they're reacting very nicely.
And these cubs are 3 months old?
They look about 2 months.
Wow.
Just tiny, teeny tiny. Yeah. They still look like honey badgers. They still got that white mantle on the back.
So is there a time limit on how long she can be asleep?
So ideally we want to wake her up. We don't want to keep her under for more than 50 minutes. We need to get her up and active as quickly as possible, which we're doing now, so that's fine.
Our plan worked out perfectly. They played the cheetah calls, and in less than a minute, the cubs reunited with their mom. The illegal wildlife trade is a reason why so many animals face extinction. People think that animal parts cure illnesses, and some people simply want a wild animal for a pet. One of the lesser-known victims of the illegal wildlife trade is the pangolin, one of the world's most trafficked animals.
She unfortunately was poached and entered into the illegal wildlife trade. Yeah, so she's been very fortunate. Once she had been recovered from the trade, she spent a lot of time in the Johannesburg Wildlife Veterinary Hospital, where they rehabilitated her and spent some really good time with intensive care just to get her strong enough to be brought back into the wild. And then since then, as I said, about 8 months ago, she arrived here as a very small young female pangolin, and she's really established herself well. She's got a little territory, and she's picked up almost 3 kilograms. So all signs are looking good that she's going to make it, and her second chance is going to be successful.
That's so great. This is the first pangolin I've ever seen, so this is really special. But can you tell us a few reasons why these pangolins are so endangered?
Yeah, sure. I think globally there's been a lot of poaching pressure on pangolins for a number of reasons. There's a big legal market in Eastern Asia, and particularly China and Vietnam, where the scales as well as the meat are used in a number of different foods, medications. I think there's something like 87 different registered medicines over the counter that contain pangolin scales, which up until fairly recently were completely unregulated. Within sort of local cultures, there have also been other beliefs, cultural beliefs, that are correlated to pangolins, and so and also fencing and game fences and the more and more people in the world are kind of enclosing a lot of these natural areas. So in other words, fragmentation, habitat destruction. So there have been a lot of issues thrown in the pangolins' direction, and particularly most recently has been the illegal trade, the poaching for medicinal and consumptive uses in Asia.
Yes, it's really important to know that these pangolin scales are just the same material as our fingernails, keratin, so it's crazy that people want them when you can just...
Yeah, exactly the same as our fingernails, exactly the same as rhino horn. It's just keratin. So a lot of these beliefs are very deeply embedded in years and years of culture. But I think through projects like this and the work that you're doing and the awareness that we're creating, I think as long as we can educate people that there is no medicinal properties in the consumptive use of pangolin, then at least we give them a bit of a fighting chance.
Some examples of illegal wildlife trade are well known, such as the poaching of elephants for ivory and tigers for their skins and bones. However, countless other species are exploited. The illegal wildlife trade makes victims of many rare and threatened species, such as primates, snakes, birds, a variety of reptiles, marine life, and even amphibians. no animal should live its life in a cage. This is why I'm proud to be the first youth ambassador for Born Free USA. As a part of one of my podcast series, I had the privilege of interviewing Dame Virginia McKenna, the founder of the Born Free Foundation.
So Virginia, thank you so much for coming today. It's such an honor that I welcome you to Club 15. And so to start off, can you tell us where you're located and what the mission of the Born Free Foundation is?
Our main office is in the UK, in the south of England. But we have an office in Kenya because we do a lot of work in Kenya, as you probably might know, particularly in Meru National Park. And then we have 2 sanctuaries, one in Ethiopia and one in South Africa, on the east of South Africa, near Port Elizabeth. And these are all rescued animals that we've managed to save, really, from horrible zoos and horrible lives, quite frankly. The South African one started quite a long time ago, but I suppose for me they're one of my favorite places to visit because we've given a better life to these victims, who were suffering nightmares in captivity, on concrete and in small cages, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And now they've got a chance to be a little bit who they really are. They can't hunt for themselves, but they can be fed and have a happy time.
I know Born Free Foundation is doing lots of other things, so can you give an example of how the Born Free Foundation is stopping wild animals from being caged and kept as pets?
Oh, kept as pets. Well, that's imprisonment, isn't it? It's the gratification for the human being. It's nothing to do, I'm not saying they necessarily will be unkind to their pet wild animal, but it's totally inappropriate and can be very cruel, probably unintentionally, but nevertheless. That's why I'm such a fantastic supporter of Born Free USA's Primate Sanctuary, where they have over 400 rescued monkeys of all kinds. I have been there with Will, my son. We spent a fantastic day there. And I shall never forget, we went there and then we went through this huge area where the monkeys were all just wandering about, sitting down, playing, sleeping, free. And they'd come. There were 1 or 2 really shocking stories about how one story was about this beautiful, I can't quite remember if it was a vervet or a baboon, I can't remember, but it doesn't really matter at this minute. It was kept in the basement in a cage. So, and was sort of brought out, when the owner sort of felt like it. And so it didn't have a life at all. And here, all these wonderful monkeys, it seemed they'd forgiven those humans because those humans had been replaced by others that really loved them, really cared for them, and wanted them to be as wild and free as possible. Not ever totally wild and free, but at least able to walk about and make friends of their own kind. And I think that place, I would hope that, my hope for the future for primates is that all primates in captivity no longer live in captivity, that it's banned forever for any private person, zoo or whatever, no primates. Our nearest relative, you're going to lock your father up or your mummy in a cage for the rest of her or his life? We are related. And even if we're not, if it's an elephant or a tiger or a bird in a cage, which is something else I madly hate, how dare we? How dare we abuse and subjugate these creatures who have such depth of feeling, family bonds, birds that fly, never able to use their wings. It's, I don't know what the matter is with us, actually. Thank God for you. That's what I say.
I know, and it's actually crazy. I've learned from Dr. Liz Tyson when I visited the monkey sanctuary that some places in the United States, it's illegal to have monkeys,
but even though it's legal, it does not mean it's right. She taught me that, and I mean, people think if it's legal, you can have a monkey, and no, you can't. I mean, they need to be free, and so great that they're born.
Well, I mean, it's just a convenient law that human beings have made so they can say it's legal. The monkeys didn't say that.
Virginia's message is really simple. Animals do not belong in cages and should never be used for human entertainment. I was fortunate to visit one of the big cat sanctuaries on Chamorro Private Game Reserve. This sanctuary is home to big cats that have been rescued from horrendous conditions from around the world. Glenn Venna is the Born Free Animal Care Manager and has the most amazing job of keeping these cats safe and living with dignity.
Hi everybody, I'm here at Born Free's Big Cat Sanctuary at Chamorro Private Game Reserve. I'm here with Glenn Venna. He works with the big cats here, he takes care of them, and he knows all about them. I'm so excited to let you get to know him and learn about all the amazing things he's doing. Welcome to Club 15.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay, so to start off, I know you have such an incredible job. So can you tell us where we are and what you do?
Kate, we are at the northern part of Chamorro Private Game Reserve at the Jean Bird Center. And what I do, I look after our rescued lions and leopards that were rescued from appalling conditions all around the world. So what we offer them here is the second best, and this is their forever home.
Yes, the lions care for you so much, and I know you work so hard to keep them safe here, and they have such a great home here. And I know you've cared for these cats over 20 years. Can you tell us the transformation that you see when these cats leave their terrible conditions and now they're living at this Born Free Sanctuary? And have you seen the lions and the leopards relax and enjoy life reaching this new place?
Words can't describe it. Seeing them transforming to almost what we would say a proper wild lion in their natural bush enclosures that we offer them here is just amazing. We see them roaring, they would scent mark their territories, and the odd mouse or guinea fowl that would fly into their enclosure, they would be stalking them and chasing after them. It's just amazing seeing them behave the way they should have behaved. But sadly, our rescued lions, they've been denied that opportunity to behave like proper wild lions or to roam free in the wild. So this is the second best that we offer them.
You mentioned to me a part of a rescue that you were in.
Yes.
And so can you explain the plane ride and releasing it here at Born Free?
I was fortunate enough in 2008 to be part of a rescue in France that we did with a male lion called Brutus. It was just an amazing journey to see a rescue that Born Free started from A to the finish when we released him into his enclosure, and how he enjoyed stepping onto the soil, feeling grass for the first time. Exploring his new environment was just amazing.
It's so sad that these lions are kept in these concrete cages, but it's so great that they're getting a second chance at life here. I know you have a very special relationship with Sammy the leopard. Can you tell us about her and how you guys have formed your incredible bond?
Well, I'll be honest, I try not to have favorites, but it's very difficult. And over the past 20 years, Sammy and I have formed a very big bond. He's one out of 3 leopards that were rescued from Sudan. They were found by Sudanese government soldiers abandoned in the desert. So they were fortunate enough to be taken in by an oil company called Lundin Oils, where they stayed in Khartoum for a few months. And they arrived here at Chamorro at our Big Cat Sanctuary in 2001. The best part probably was when I was bottle feeding them, giving them bits of chicken. And I think that's where the bond started. And it's been there ever since. So, yeah, I always get emotional when I talk about these things because they're not just animals, they're family at the end of the day. They're a big part of my family too.
I look back at my time in Africa and can't believe the experiences I had working with these endangered animals. I can't believe how young I look in all this footage. I'm 15 now, and I wonder how that rhino and your calf are doing. I hope they're thriving. I think about the mother cheetah and hope her cubs have managed to survive and maybe even have their own families. And I hope the pangolin I met has continued to gain weight and thrive in the wild. My hope for the future is that people do a better job of sharing our planet with wild animals. All these animals really need is to be given the chance to be wild and to roam free.
In the dust of the morning, in the mist of the dawn, you keep your eyes on the horizon, see the majesty before it's gone. In the splendor of the wild, in the wonder of it all, you keep your eyes on the horizon and find something beautiful. Too many lost by human greed, too many lost senselessly. You say there's a way to change it, you say there's a ways to go, but you say it's up to us all. You say kids can save animals. Let's go.